Hi.
Hello, Jacqueline. Yeah,
Hi.
it's nice to see you.
You too.
Yeah, you wanted to find out a bit more about our Managers Managing Stress program.
Yeah. I've had a look on the website, and I've got a situation at the moment where a colleague's displaying some symptoms of stress, and I don't want to put him through performance management formally because he's previously been really good at his job. So really, how do I compassionately deal with that situation?
Yeah, what kind of symptoms is he presenting?
Making many more mistakes, quite angry, blows up all the time at the smallest things, is not looking as well groomed as he normally would do, and sort of coming early and staying late to finish a job that he used to be able to do in the time.
Yeah, those are kind of quite obvious signs of stress, and you can see that it's affecting his ability to perform, his work role at his best. Have you had a meeting with him and discussed the reasons why this may be?
We have, but he got very defensive, and actually quite upset, and at one point walked out of the meeting.
That's difficult.
Yeah,
that's difficult. Well, there's a legal duty for managers to address those kind of situations under the health and safety legislation. So in that kind of scenario, you would be expected in terms of your duty to address this situation legally, to have a meeting with this employee and carry out a risk assessment, as laid down by the structure, by health and safety executive.
Yeah.
So what you'd be doing is you'd be encouraging him to open up and talk about this, and asking him the questions, under the risk assessment structure. And so there are 6 areas that you need to cover. So in terms of if there were the demands of the work, if there was stress related to the demands of the work, how much control he has, over his work role, what's the quality of the relationships, in his team and with yourself as well. If there's a lot of change going on in your organization, how that's being managed, and are there any aspects of the change that's causing him stress? Is his role clear? Is his role ambiguous, or he's got multiple, roles, which are taking him into different tangents? That could be causing him stress. And what's the quality of the support within the team and the organization?
Right.
So that's in terms of the work-related risk assessment. But then there may be things going on at home as well. And although legally you're not responsible for addressing the personal issues, you should be signposting him to support, and for that to be recorded as part of what's discussed in your meeting.
Okay.
Does that help a little bit?
Helpful, definitely. I think that's really good advice. I'm just a little bit worried about, I understand that I've got a legal duty of care under the Health and Safety at Work Act, but I feel a little overwhelmed about carrying out those duties. Have you got any advice for me on that front?
Yeah, in our training, we help managers to be vigilant about these things, in ways that really it doesn't take any additional time from their normal duties. So if you put some simple things in place that would help you to identify, stress issues at an early point, and just make that part of your daily management role. And the way you can do that is in 3 ways. So one way is just to be more observant, of what's going on. And this employee that you're talking about is a perfect example. So if there's someone who's usually very punctual, is very efficient, is happy and performing well, and all of a sudden their behavior changes, that they start coming late, all the kind of things that you've just told me about. Then it's just about being vigilant and keeping the communication open with your team, and the conversations on a regular basis that would give you that kind of information, where you have to go and nip the issue in the bud, before it escalates. So that's one way of being, more observant on a day-to-day basis and keeping the communication going with your employees. The other way is to look at, any kind of quantitative data that you have. So it could be things like sickness levels are rising, or you look at the clock cards and punctuality. There's been patterns, in punctuality, or you have formally carried out a stress risk survey or a well-being survey, and that's highlighted areas of stress, so that you'd have the quantitative data somewhere in the organization that will give you indicators of stress within your team. The third way is to through kind of qualitative subjective data. So a good example would be, say, if an employee from another department or something says to you something about things that are going on, in that team that raise concern. So these are not things that you have observed yourself, or that you have data that tell you that there's stress. This is just some information that somebody else has told you, and it'd be helpful if that's followed up to find to address those issues.
So it's a good combination then of the formal sort of risk assessments and procedures that we need to put in place, but making all of the managers more aware and more sort of concerned about well-being will actually eliminate some of the need to do those formal things as well. So it's a good combination. Yeah,
it's just integrating those into your day-to-day structures.
Sure.
I mean, if you have supervision on a regular basis, or you have review or appraisal meetings on a regular basis, team meetings, so the risk assessment process can be integrated into all the existing structures,
right.
As well as what I've just outlined to you.
Okay, thank you. That's really helpful. What did set the precedence for the sort of legal cases?
Yeah, well, the case that set precedent was the case of John Walker in 1996. Yeah, John Walker, he used to work in the social care setting, and he had very heavy workloads for a long time, and he went off with a nervous breakdown. And then when his return to work was being negotiated, there was a plan for his return that would offer support with all the issues that caused him the work-related stress in the first place. When he came back to work, all this wasn't fully put in place, so he wasn't offered the support that was agreed prior to his return to work, and he went off with stress again. And that's when he sued his organization, and he got quite a bit of compensation from doing that. Yeah. And there's been many other cases since then, many other cases since then.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Is there anything else I need to know in terms of clarifying how I need to perform my legal duties? Because we've touched on risk assessments and so on. Are there any other factors that I need to incorporate?
Well, good communication processes, good relationships, fostering a culture in your organization where there is no stigma about talking about stress, where you feel, where employees feel comfortable about talking about these issues and opening up about these issues and about asking for support with these issues.
Right.
And just fostering that kind of a healthy culture, of people looking after each other, and of taking your duty of welfare towards your employees seriously.
Yeah, that makes sense. And if the worst came to the worst, and someone did take us to court for stress-related issue, what should I expect? What would the court look for?
Okay, the courts would look for that first of all the incident was foreseeable. So if you look at the John Walker case, it was quite foreseeable because when he was planning to come back to work, it was quite obvious that if the support wasn't provided, then he'd go off sick again. So the courts would look at the fact that it was foreseeable. It would look at the fact that the injury was directly related to work stress. So, for example, again with the John Walker case, his depression and breakdown was directly related to work-related stress, and that the organization as well as the employee had taken reasonable care and steps towards well-being and reducing the stress. Right. So the courts would generally look at all that.
Right. Okay. Thank you. I think we've pretty much covered all the questions I had for you.
Yeah.
On this, and I think just from talking to you, I can see that there's a lot of benefits really to implementing this. Whereas I was seeing it before as very much another piece of workload that I've got to do. I can see that I'm going to have a much more happy staff with better productivity. I'm going to have better performance and better team morale. I can see where I can reduce some costs actually and make some savings from the stress or absence related type issues. Obviously that's going to impact on my bottom line, so I can that's a good thing. And by enhancing all of our management skills, we'll have a happy management team as well. So all in all, really good benefits. So thank you for that.
You're welcome, Jacqueline. As you know, we offer a wide range of programs for personal as well as organizational stress, and we'd be happy to help you at any time. So just let us know if we can support you further on any aspect of this.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you.